What lurks behind this unassuming storefronts in Cleveland, Ohio? It's the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic. Learn the history of Wicca and the tale of those who brought it to the United States. See the tools of magic, once used by practitioners of the arcane arts. It's the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic.
Welcome to the Buckland Museum. Frankenstein radio controls, broadcasting out of an unknown castle in the wilds of Ohio. Tonight, we're going to chat with writer and practitioner of good juju, Najah Lightfoot. But first, some business. So next week, Thursday, October 15th, we're going to have a bit of a book launch party for Christine Solier's new book, Witch Hunt, A Traveler's Guide to the Power and Persecution of the Witch. We're going to have some signed copies available for sale, and I think we're going to have like a cool little giveaway. So, come check us out. We currently have a great show on display in our rotating exhibit space, Apparitions, Specters, Conjures, and the Paranormal, all on loan from the Stephen Romano Gallery in New York City, free with admission to the Buckland Museum. And once again, I implore you, please purchase your tickets online via our website at bucklandmuseum.org. People just show up. They're like, oh my gosh, what do you mean I can't come in? And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a pandemic. I'm not sure what you expected, but I always feel really bad. And then I wind up staying here all night because, because of that. So anyway, please cut me some slack, get your tickets online. So here we go. Welcome to the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft and Magic. One of our, you recently donated a piece to the collection. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and it's such an honor to have donated my staff. I want to thank you and Tony and Tom, who worked on the box, and of course, Ray and Velvet, who also passed on. So, yeah, I thank all of you guys for giving me such a great opportunity. I'm just thrilled about it.
So, you just mentioned Velvet. So, yeah. Did you know Velvet? Velvet Reed?
I did know Velvet. Yes, I did.
Wow. That is so cool. Oh, my gosh. Unexpected surprise. So, who she's speaking of is... really one of the great heroes of our collection, because Velvet, she had gathered kind of this collection, kind of saved it from being broken apart, and kept it for Tony. She actually displayed it for a while, and then Tony, my partner in the museum, she went and gathered it from Velvet. So, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have any, I never met her. Do you have any kind of, memories of her that you want to share?
I do. So, I live in Denver, but I spend many years going to New Orleans, and I love New Orleans. And I was going to New Orleans on a business trip. And you know how we try to do our community events. At that time, Meetup was the big thing.
Yeah.
And so I got on Meetup and asked if there was anyone through the meetup group I was with, I could see the moon with while I was in New Orleans. And these wonderful witches in New Orleans invited me into their home when I was there. And Velvet was part of that group. And so I got to meet Velvet. And She was really nice to me. The witches in New Orleans were super nice to me. And then later at the New Orleans Witches Ball, which was one of the fabulous events ever, that's also gone into our dreams and memories. I got to hang out with her at the New Orleans Witches Ball and some of the other witches down there, and she was just a really nice person. I really liked her.
Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool to hear that. We have her torque on display in the museum, and actually, right below me here, we have Cute Witch 772, who she works here at the museum, and she's saying hello to you. But I was just actually kind of talking to her today about why the piece, the artifact we have from Velvet on display, and why it's important. So it's kind of funny. William S. Burroughs would say that there are no coincidences in a magical universe. And
that's right. Yeah, I totally believe that. I mean, I was so welcomed, you know, to meet with them. I still am in contact with some of them through Facebook, and they're just wonderful people. And I got to meet Velvet a couple times, but enough to, you know, we kept the moon together once, and it was really wonderful. We hung out at the New Orleans Witches Ball one year, and she was just a super nice lady. And I was thrilled when I found out she had the collection.
Yeah.
Great! What a great, you know, what a great bridge.
Yeah, how cool. So we have Sibel here, our friend from Hermitage, Pennsylvania, says hi, Stephen. I'm sure she wants to say hi to you as well. And we have Aquamarine 18, and she's saying hi to Cute Witch. And Kelvin Frazier saying good evening. Good evening, Kelvin. How are you, buddy? Haven't heard from you in a little bit. So we're kind of here mainly to talk about your book here, Good Juju. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm kind of jumping ahead because here is the staff donated to the collection by Najah Lightfoot, and we really love it. Here's a photo with her with it there, and here's a photo of it on display here at the Buckland Museum. So I have to tell you that Tony, she was just like, I've got this book. I love it. This is fantastic. And here's the book we're talking about. Can you kind of tell us a little bit? What's the elevator pitch for this book right here?
Good Juju is for people to learn about creating a daily magical spiritual practice and to learn some tools and things that they can do to help them on their magical journey. Hopefully, you know, it's a nice beginner book for people who are just interested and stepping onto the path, but also some tidbits for people who are seasoned practitioners to learn about magic and how to practice it without interfering with their own daily rites. Just something to enhance their spirituality.
And that really comes through. It really reminds me of like kind of like a classic I don't know, witchcraft book. Do you self-identify as a witch?
Oh yes, most definitely.
Because it's got the you know, it's broken out into really wonderful sections, and you really how do I put this? It's a page turner. It's you get in there, and there's really nothing in here too complex where you're gonna just be like, oh my gosh, but I don't think this is really designed for that. I think it's kind of designed for people to kind of really kind of put their toes in the water and kind of help guide them into their spirituality.
Well, thank you for saying that. That was my goal, my intention, and the cover was very important to me for that reason. I wanted it to be a book that people could feel that they could leave out in their living room or on their coffee table and didn't have to hide it on the shelf, you know, because it's about magical practices or whatever. I mean, we all do have those kinds of books, and those books are great. But it's also nice to have something that you can just lay out on your coffee table and go, oh, this is good juju. This is really great. I'm very happy with the cover, and I appreciate everyone in your audience. And all the people who have just really taken to it. It's been great.
Yeah, I don't know. It tends to fly off the shelves here. So I think people are always looking for something like that. So, let's see. Deanna says, lovely to see you.
Oh, Deanna.
Is this one of your buddies here?
Yeah, it's one of my buddies.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome. So, when did you first, you say that you self-identify as a witch, but there's always that moment, right? Where you kind of realize what you are, who you are.
Yeah.
Do you remember that moment, or was it something that you kind of just like woke up one day and you're like, what I've become?
This is who I am. Well, I've always been really attuned to nature. I just love nature, trees, the clouds, and I'm a child of the 60s. I was born in Cleveland, so this is really exciting. But I grew up on the West Coast in LA during the 60s and 70s when the music was all about spells and, flower children and going to the beach. And I just always have been kin to the unseen. Just always felt like there was something else inside of me. And so I just followed that path. And, it took me to a lot of places and some, places of learning, some are opportunities that helped me move forward. Some are like, okay, I don't really think that's what I want to do. But it's really my deep love of nature. I'm always looking up at the moon and the stars and of course, who doesn't, like rituals and things like that. So it's really just a journey of expressing myself and learning and being a seeker along the way.
So that's funny that you would mention it, because right in the beginning of my notes here, I'm like, oh, geez, I really need to shout out that we can kind of call her Cleveland's own. So
yeah.
So you were born in Cleveland, but then you left.
Yes, I left. Yes, I was a small child, but that's why I thought this was just so amazing. I was like, it's in Cleveland? What? Yeah. Really? Great.
So there's a lot of stuff in your book. I found a heck of a lot of information about hoodoo practice in here. Can you kind of go into what's the difference between, this is something that's covered quite a bit in the world, but could you kind of go into the difference between hoodoo and voodoo? Because it's kind of an important distinction.
Yeah, well, lots of people have that question, and I had that question for a really long time myself. So voodoo is magic. It's a folk magic practice. You can study it. It's a combination of a lot of different people and ethnicities, but it is rooted in African American tradition and also European magic and some Native American practices, but mostly it's rooted in the African American culture. And you can study it, or a lot of people have their grandmas or their aunties who practiced it, and they learn that way. However, voodoo is a religion. It's a religious practice, and it's one that requires study and initiation. It's just like anyone going into a religion that they want to study and learn. It's part of the African traditional religions from the diaspora, enslaved Africans who were taken from our homeland and around the world and carried our religious practices with us. And I happen to be initiated into New Orleans Voodoo, which has its home in Haiti, out of Haitian practices. So, but that is something that took me a really long time to get to. Just like anything you do, you should study, always things through your higher power, however that is for you, what that is for you, and see if that's something you want to do. You don't have to rush anything. It's something you should take your time and really feel like, is this something I want to do? Because when you do walk the path of spirituality and magic and some of the things that we do, they require time, they require study, they require patience. And so I always try to put that out to people, like, everything that we do, these practices we have, they've been around for a while. So just take your time with it, because it will change your life. And so, you know, that's the difference. Voodoo is a religion, and hoodoo is a folk magic.
So thank you for sharing that. So you were saying that you're initiated into New Orleans voodoo. So La Source Ancien,
Source Ancien,
No, very cool.
Yeah.
I used to live down in New Orleans, and I knew some of those people.
Yes,
So,
wonderful people. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm very happy to have. I mean, even though I don't live there, you know, but it's just, and I actually came into it through my love of Marie Laveau, and it's Marie Laveau who brought me to that. And the reason why, once I started studying hoodoo and learning about that, and also studying the craft, I was really looking for people who look like me. And Marie Laveau is an iconic woman of color who was here in the United States.
Yeah.
And, along with Tituba, and I actually been working on my second book, and I'm doing chapters on both of them. And it was important to me to find magical, powerful, iconic women who look like me. And so that was important. That's really kind of how I ended up falling deeper, you know, into voodoo practices, and actually going to a public ceremony in New Orleans for Marie Laveau's St. John's Eve head washing ceremony. So it was just a continuous path. But that's really how I got there.
So over there in St. John's Bayou?
Yes, out on the bayou. So beautiful.
No, it is. I've had the prophetic dreams that night myself. So.
Oh, good for you. Well, we know what we're talking about then.
I do. So we have a question here from Tony, and she I think you kind of briefly touched upon what she's asking about. It's Tony. Can you tell us if you have any projects coming up in the near future? Any new books or articles?
Hi, Tony. Yes, I am working on my second book in the Good Juju series. I'm almost finished with the manuscript. I'm so excited. It's going to be about powerful Juju and working with 13 badass feminine icons to help us during troubled times. So I'm really excited. I'm going deep to the divine feminine, working with women who are mythological, iconic, contemporary, and bringing all that into today. And there's going to be lots of rites and rituals, how to work with these women. And then I just submitted my 15th article for Llewellyn. It's going to be published for the 2022 Witches Companion. So I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, keeping things way ahead. That's cool.
I'm constantly writing.
Yeah. So I really love the idea of your book because, you know, as somebody that operates a witchcraft museum day to day, I think we need more strong female leadership in the world. I take a look at countries run by women. They seem to work better than ours. So
well,
I'm excited for your book. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Any idea when that's going to be published, or?
Well, I hope, you know, that I know Llewellyn's waiting for it. So, you know, it's due. So I really try to never miss the deadline. So I plan to have that submitted to them soon. Hopefully within a few weeks, and they'll start working on it for me. So I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
I bet. So we just had a comment from Ashley Hall, who lives in Montana now. Hi, Ashley. She's saying, hi, everyone. It looks like her profile picture was probably taken here at the Buckland Museum last year before she moved. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Kelvin has a question. How long did you practice hoodoo and voodoo? So how long have you been a practitioner?
Oh, let's see. So I've been practicing hoodoo for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And I just started really, I took my initiation a couple years ago into the society. So it's been a long time coming. And so it's something that continually study, continually work on. So I just see it as another level of my magical spiritual foundation, and it's been really great. I'm really happy that I was able to do it, and that I came to it in a way that was right for me. And
Yeah.
I always tell people I only speak for my experiences on my journey. I don't speak for any organization or anybody else. I just try to share what's been good for me.
Well, I mean, that's one thing that I've noticed is a lot of, even in alternative religious circles, there's a lot of dogma that you have to deal with, and a lot of like liner behavior. And
Yeah.
some things I just
I like to stay authentic, and I think that's why my book reaches so many people. I only write and talk about what I've done, what's happened to me, and maybe how it could help somebody else.
yeah.
I'm always on the journey. I will always be a seeker.
So Ashley just said, just followed you on Instagram.
Thanks, Ashley. Thank you.
So what is your Instagram?
Najah Lightfoot on Instagram.
All right. So very cool. So Ashley says, I know relatively nothing about voodoo. What is the biggest misconception about voodoo that you work to correct? Oh boy. Yeah.
Okay. That it's scary.
Yeah.
That it's demonic. It's so far from that. It's a religious expression, a way of relating to African traditional religious practices, African deities, and that it's ecstatic and it's wonderful and it's welcoming and it's powerful. If you know your history and you study, you know that where I was initiated through in New Orleans, that there's Congo Square, and that's where enslaved Africans would go on Sunday to gather and be with each other and have a religious gathering, and it was deemed evil and demonic. And you have to study slavery. You have to understand why Africans, enslaved Africans in our traditions, were considered demonic and evil. So I always, like to press upon people, if you're going to go down these paths, you should know the history of slavery in the United States and really get a feel for that and try to look at it from that perspective.
I think when you look at anything in the United States, you really have to look at it through the lens of slavery and what it's done to this country, And I think religion is just like one facet of 1,000 things that I think it's probably time for us to really come to grips and figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, things can get really deep. But I can tell you were on the bayou. When you're in a ceremony with master Haitian drummers playing, and singing and songs, and people all just being reverent and having a wonderful time, and there's nothing like it. It's great.
That's cool. So Ashley says, thank you, heart. Thank you for the wonderful question there, Ashley. Let's see. Denise says, Najah, first time seeing anything about you. You are absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to read the book.
Thank you, Denise.
It's I do have to say that your smile brightens up your day. We do have a photo of you next to your staff, and it's like there's a reason why your book's called Good Juju, right? Because you spread it.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much.
So how did you start writing?
So I started writing for Llewellyn in 2013. A wonderful Llewellyn author who's a dear friend.
But I don't mean to interrupt, but you started writing for Llewellyn in 2013, but when did you start writing?
Okay, well,
how did you put pen to paper for the first time?
I'm a journaler. So I journal every day. And I've journaled basically since I was 6 or 8 years old. I had a diary, and I'm one of those people that if I didn't have paper, I would write on the wall. I actually journal before I start writing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have to write. I have to journal. It's my thing. I'm a total, I love this. I love getting a new journal. I love new pens. I have stacks and stacks of my journal. So I have been journaling pretty much every day since I was a little girl. And I just turned 60 years old this year. So I've done a lot of writing. Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting because in the collection, in our archives, we have Ray's journals. And some of them are like written this, but a lot of them are, do you remember those little date books that you would get from the bank back then? Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of them are those. And you kind of piece together what was going on just from these like cryptic notes. Like today I did this, this and that, dropped off this check, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of cool because, somebody that celebrates Ray's collection and Ray himself, it's kind of fun to try to piece together what was going on at specific times and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Valuable for you to be able. Do you have all your journals still?
I do. I have most of them, and they're like bulging out of the closet, and I'm always like, what am I going to do with these? I don't know, but I'm such a journaler that when I start getting to the end of one, I have to go get a new one, because if I don't have one to start immediately, then I get all freaked out because I have to write. I just have to write.
So that's cool. So Ashley had another question here that I think we might have skipped away from. So we should probably go back to this. But tell us more about the staff that you donated. It's there it is in a very dramatically lit photo here. Is there anything that you really want to tell us about it? Because you wrote a little essay for it.
I did. It's really something to see it. It was a big decision for me to part with it, but I knew that when you guys were so wonderful to ask me to donate something, that it should be something that was meaningful for me. And that staff came to me at a pagan festival that's also gone on to the land of memories called Arcana here in Colorado. It was handmade by a great witch. And it was at one of my very first volcano festivals, and we were up on the mountain, and there were bonfires going, and I purchased this staff from this wonderful witch, this wonderful male staff woodworker, and I just loved it. I loved the crystal, and then we picked it up to the fires and smoked and blessed it and danced with it. And then it's just traveled with me to the Ren Fair here in Colorado, and then to the winter solstice. We have Drumming Up the Sun ceremony at Red Rocks Amphitheater. And so I take it there and drum up the sun. And then this last year, after coming back from a Fête Gede celebration in New Orleans, which is what we do around this time of year with Halloween and Samhain, I added my Juju beads to it. And a red cross for Papa Rosa, who represents Father sending me. And I took it to Drumming Up the Sun and danced with it, and up and down and sang as we watched the sun come up, with like hundreds of other people celebrating the winter solstice. And so it was with me, and that's my dad. That's what that is. Got a lot of good juju.
There's a lot of good juju attached to it. I can see that because whenever people look at it, they beam. So, cute witch. How did you decide to donate? And I'm blah blah blah. Let's see. So I guess we just covered that, Cara. But yeah, she loves that it was a solstice ritual at Red Rocks last. Didn't know they did those there.
Yeah.
I've actually been getting a lot of comments of people talking about Red Rocks when they read your essay there. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really great. We go up. I don't know what's going to happen this year with the pandemic, but it can be snowing, it can be 10 degrees outside, and people we hike up to, we drive up to Red Rocks in the dark of the morning, and we're all up there, and people have drums and staffs and dogs and kids and fire spinners, and we just go like into an ecstatic place. Some of us trance out. It's a real meditative space, and we just start drumming as the sun rises up on the plains. You can see all of Denver, and it's just a magical, beautiful, wonderful experience. And it doesn't matter what the weather is, we're up there. But I don't know what's going to happen this year. We'll have to see.
So, that sounds really rad. Sometime maybe you could invite me and Tony and Cara and Jillian and the rest of our crew here to come visit and experience it with you. Maybe
Consider yourself invited. It is done.
All right, that sounds good. So, I noticed in your book there's a really great bibliography. It features such luminaries like actually people that we have things in the collection of, like Scott Cunningham and Ed Fitch, and then we find Sally Ann Glassman, the incredible New Orleans Voodoo priestess, and Cat Ironwood. Who is your when you think about witchcraft authors, writers on the occult, etc., who's your go-to where you're like, one day my name is going to be up there with theirs?
Well, I do have a special affinity for Doreen Valiente.
Oh wow, yeah, of course.
She means a lot to me. So yeah, she deserves her due. She was putting things to paper, and there's so many things that people can just Google now these days. And if it wasn't for Doreen, it wouldn't be out there. And of course, Ray, I'm just in awe of Ray and his big blue book and everything that he did, as a writer and author. And I loved how he would say, I never met him, but, I've watched so many videos about him and read about him, how he wanted to correct misconceptions. I was that way too. Like, I want to correct misconceptions about voodoo, about hoodoo, about witchcraft, and try to bring it out into the light and make it welcoming and accessible to people, especially in dark times when everyone just wants to paint everything so dark, and it's just not that. I have never found it to be that way. I'm not like that.
I agree, and I mean, it's I think I got kind of lost in the original version of the museum, where I didn't really realize how important that part of it was still to be, and now it's full on as a teaching place of trying to teach people what we aren't, and trying to teach people about like you said, it's the misconceptions and how misconceptions can be very harmful.
Yes, they can, and when I write, I always put in my book, if it's safe for you to do this, that's great. If it's not safe, that's okay too. If you need to put this stuff away, because there's nothing worse than somebody like looking at what you're doing and sending negative vibes, or you feeling paranoid, but also to respect that it's not safe for everybody to just go around and say, oh yeah, I'm a witch and I practice hoodoo, or I, go to voodoo. Not everybody can do that, and I try to respect that and let people have that space. We all come to being out of the broom closet, as we say, in our own way, in our own time, and there are valid reasons why people, aren't, and why they need to keep things secret, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's also an important thing to remember, is not everybody can go around being like, this is this, etc. Donetta Winters says, now I have a reason to visit Cleveland. You have plenty of reasons to visit Cleveland before, but I like to think that we're the best tourist destination in the land. So, yeah, you do now have a reason to visit Cleveland. So awesome. So, we keep talking about the idea of good juju, but do you have any magical exercises that our viewers could kind of do to explore, like something simple that they could do tomorrow morning to raise their level of good juju?
Okay. They can pour water to their ancestors. So
All right.
we always have to remember those who have gone before us. So in my book, I actually write about pouring water to your ancestors. And some days it's easy to get off of, a big ritual. But when you're starting out, first thing in the morning, and this is, hi, Marianne, this is before you take a drink yourself, which is hard. But, I also want to, say that it takes time, effort, and practice. And when you want to grow and strengthen confidence and power, you have to practice these. So get up in the morning before you take your coffee or your tea, fill some water. And if you can get outside and face the east, take a moment, thank all your loved ones who have gone before you, who are on the other side, and pour some water to them. And then take a moment and fill them, thank them, hold them in your heart, and then take a drink yourself. And if you can't get outside, you can pour your water in a plant. If worst case, if you don't have plants, some people are like, oh no, I'm not a plant person. Put the water in a little cup and go for a walk and pour it outside. It doesn't have to be a lot. But that's one of the best things to connect with the continuous path of magic and to keep those who have supported you, who are now on the other side, to remember them every day. And that has helped me so much. And I've even included, magical people, friends, doesn't have to always be my blood relatives, but anyone who's special to me. I take a moment in the morning and pour water to them. It's pretty easy to do. The hardest part is not drinking anything. That's the discipline. But you can do it.
So I always feel like with magic, you need discipline, and magic is a really dangerous path to go down. So is there something that we as a culture do that we don't know is actually based in voodoo?
There's something that we as a culture do.
Interesting question.
That is an interesting question. That's actually based in voodoo.
I imagine it'd be easier to find something based in hoodoo than.
Yeah, I was thinking. Well, I would say the word mojo.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Mojo just gone into the mainstream, the vernacular. Austin Powers lost his mojo, but what is a mojo? What actually is that? And it's a real tangible item. It's not just this thing. So that's just totally gone into the mainstream. Everybody, oh, I lost my mojo. And then there's blues music. There's, if you like the blues, which I do, I love blues music. If you listen to the lyrics, you can hear hoodoo lyrics in the music.
Oh yeah.
All you have to do is, listen to some good old blues. So it totally runs in the culture.
So if you visit Kat Ironwood's website, she has an incredible database of blues lyrics that are inspired by hoodoo practices. I mean, most common, let's see, Who Do You Love, right? Bo Diddley. But Robert Johnson, of course, talking about his nation.
Oh, yeah, and going to the crossroads. Everybody knows what's going to the crossroads. Everyone has a fear of the big black man at the crossroads.
I very much identified with the crossroads ones.
But I'm actually writing about crossroads work in my second book. So,
really?
Yes. I'm going to help
very cool.
people go to the crossroads.
How do you pick a crossroads? Because right in front of my house is a crossroad, but it's not really. It's two houses in a neighborhood in Cleveland, or two streets in a neighborhood in Cleveland. How do you pick the right crossroads to do your work?
Well, you go into it, walk around it, take a drive, see if it feels good. I use the crossroads right down the street from my house. And I live right in the city, you know,
Okay.
and I have other ones that I go to. It depends on what you want to do. And
Yeah.
the best thing, I mean, the best gauge for doing Crossroads work and is you feel comfortable there. And before you do Crossroads work, you should go around it. Take a walk
Yeah.
around in the daytime and then at night, because things change in the night. So before I always, I always tell people before you set out to do any work in the Crossroads, you should go see what it looks like at night. You should never put yourself at risk. If you're going to go out there and do the work, then do the prep. Go prep. Go see what it looks like at midnight or close to the hour you want to go be in it. I mean, the first Crossroads work I did was in the city of Philadelphia at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. I've had a lot of strange experiences in Philadelphia. I have a giant list of my experiences in Philadelphia. I had one really good time though. We went to see Sun Ra, a bunch of his archives on display at like one of their art institutes there, and that was fantastic.
That's great art. I love Philadelphia. It's such a wonderful city.
Yeah, I had a really nice brunch there once at the White Dog restaurant, and the White Dog restaurant is very famous for being where Madame Blavatsky stayed when she first came to the United States, and she was and she had a dream of a white dog that came and saved her. And I remember that they had really good eggs Benedict. So.
Oh yeah, they do have great food, right? We could talk about food in Philadelphia. Oh, the Reading Market. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I went there with my friend Chris. That's cool. So Ashley says, thank you. And she also says, thank you for that example.
Oh, you're welcome. Hi, Audrey. Thank you.
So, yes, Halloween's coming up. And talked about a little bit about Gay Day. So, do you have any special Halloween traditions that is kind of like your thing?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I have so many. Since, okay, I celebrate eclectic Halloween. I have loved Halloween my whole life. I love scary movies, horror. I am really passionate about dolls. I know people either love dolls or they not, but I love dolls. And
so yeah, speaking of dolls, I saw on your Facebook page the other day that you were like, yeah, I watched this movie, The Boy, and I was like, oh, that sounds fun. And I started watching it. And I got so creeped out because the doll looked just like Jared Kushner.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, and I got so freaked out. And I was like, little Jared Kushner going creeping around. Oh gosh.
It was good. That was a trip.
Oh, horrifying.
And you know one of my favorite doll movies? You remember Karen Black?
Oh yeah.
Tara with a little doll that ran across the Oh my gosh, scared the hell out of me. But I still love it.
I saw that when I was a kid. Like
me too.
Gina, I had like nightmares about it.
Oh, I know that doll was something else. I do like dolls, scary ones, not scary ones. I collect dolls, but I started decorating for Halloween actually because this year was so bizarre. I have these spinning witches that spin in the wind, and I put them in my yard because I was like, it's already like Halloween this whole year, so let's just start now. So I just started out stuff for Halloween, and then of course, I recognize Samhain. I do my ritual for Samhain, and then there's Fête Gede in Voodoo, where we honor our ancestors, those who have gone before us. And actually, the colors for the Gede are black and purple. And I love this black and purple, so I put this on, and that's in my picture. So yeah, I just keep going. I have lots of things in celebration. Fun.
So Linda says, hi, Najah, my friend. I live in Denver also. I was wondering, aside from New Orleans, is there any other places you feel are extra spiritual?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Linda. Oh, it's so good to see you. And I want to say Linda has graphics art, and she made wonderful bookmarks for my book. And so it's really nice. Oh yeah. Let's see. So some of my favorite places. I love Boston. Boston. Yes, that is Linda's work. She made that great bookmark for me. Boston
Awesome.
is a wonderful place. I think you can just wander around Boston forever and find magic there. Um, I like. I love Oregon, the coast. It's so pretty, so wild, quiet places. And then here, we have Colorado. We have some of the most beautiful mountains and trees. And I've actually been, the headwaters of the Colorado River start here. And if you can get up on the western slope, it's just quiet. And you can just sit with nature and look at these majestic mountains. That's so magical. It just fills me. And one of my favorite views is the Continental Divide, which isn't far from my house. We just go up I-70, and every time I see those mountains, I'm just filled with awe. So yeah, those are magical places for me. That's just a few.
So Audrey says, do you have any favorite witch movies?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I own Poltergeist. This house is clean. I've seen it so many times I can't remember. I love the Skeleton Key. Oh, that's one of my favorites. Eve's
And that's
Bayou.
in your book is a
Everybody should see Eve's Bayou because that is about hoodoo. That's really,
Yeah.
and plus Diane Carroll played the witch reader with her face all white and everything. So I love that. That's one of my favorites. It's not exactly a witch movie, but one of my favorite characters is Tia Dama in Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, yeah. You know the Tia Dama characters? That
I haven't
long.
seen movies in a long time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I
love
just
her.
want to say to our viewers here, we've just had a bunch of ambulances go by. So let's send some Juju to the people that they're taking care of there. Because, wow.
People. And
Wow.
let's see. What else? What other ones do I like? I know that Boy that we just watched was really good. And I also have to say, it's tough, but we are watching Lovecraft Country on HBO. But the book, I have to give a shout out to the book. Read the book. The book
That's what I hear.
very good. The HBO show, I'm sorry, it's a little too much for me at times, but we are watching Lovecraft Country.
I watched the first couple episodes, and maybe it's because I haven't read the book, but I was just like, I'm not really sure what's going on. So I backed off on it.
Read the book. The book it's disturbing. It's really disturbing. I'm trying to think what else did I watch lately. Oh, I liked what's that movie? Crimson something.
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide. Yeah, I think that came out a while ago. Yeah, that was really good. So yeah, I do like scary movies.
Yeah. But what about like Hocus Pocus or
Oh yeah, I own it. And Practical Magic, I own it. I've watched them so many times. Oh, and I do like Rosemary's Baby. I mean, you gotta watch Rosemary's Baby.
I always think it's funny that the first Wiccan high priestess in America, Lady Rowan, her real name was Rosemary. And I'm like, that must have caused some kind of like interesting like conversations back in the day.
Yeah, I don't know if that actually helped our cause.
No.
But it puts something on you, you know.
Tannis.
And then there's the birds. You gotta watch the birds. I love that one.
That one creeps me out. Like every time I see the birds, I have a hard time looking at pigeons and like seagulls for months afterwards. So
we had some crows come and live with us this spring. They came, they came to my bird bath and they built a nest across my street. They would land in my backyard. I have a pergola, and one day they were out on top of the pergola, like calling to me. I have a thing with animals. So they, I don't know, would land in my yard. I put water out for them.
So, you know what? It's kind of funny. When we lived in New Orleans, one day, Jillian, my wonderful, wonderful wife, she comes home and she's just like, Steven, a crow chased me down the street. And I was like, well, what'd you do? And she's like, I ran from the crow. And I was like, no crow chased you down the street. It was probably something else. And she's like, no. So a few days later, I walked down the same street, and the same crow chased me down the street.
Yeah, they're super smart. I read that I've heard that before. Like if you're like mean to them or whatever, they
Mistaken identity. Jillian and I have nothing but love for animals. We would never mess with a crow.
No, not you, but they do have a good memory. I mean, crows are very smart. Yeah, they
But yeah,
over our yard. It was great. We kind of miss them now.
yeah, I remember at one point I went by him and I was all nervous. I felt like I was a kid avoiding the bully's house because I was just like, oh man, that's where the crow is. I should probably not go down there, but I got to go to the store over there. So I'm just going around this way. And then, the crow starts chasing me. And this old guy, I get to the store I was going to, and he was like, ha, 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 ha. I really had it in for you.
They're big birds.
Yeah.
They are. They are big birds.
That was creepy.
Yeah.
It was one of the many wonderful experiences I had living in New Orleans, though. So, cool. So, what's your lockdown routine been? You know, are you still pretty much self-quarantined?
Yeah, I hardly go anywhere, which is kind of sad. I mean, Walgreens has become the go-to. You know, oh yeah, I go to Walgreens and they know me by name. You know, hi. You know, we haven't been anywhere. I mean, we're supposed to have a nice home and a yard. We keep looking up places to go, but it's so much effort, and the winter's coming. So yeah, I've been pretty much, and it was pretty sad. I mean, along with everybody, I had a lot on my calendar this year. This would have been a big author travel year for me, and everything just got completely canceled. Yeah.
When we can have live events here at the Buckland again, you're going to come hang out with us, right?
Oh yes, of course. I would love to. I definitely have that on my calendar. So I just, get up, go outside. I go to the front porch, back porch. We have a dog, and we take it to the dog park. Safe distance and stuff. But that's pretty much been it, really.
So I gotta say I'm kind of disappointed that your dog hasn't like made an appearance here in this episode, but let's not get him all riled up.
Yeah, we don't want her to. She's in the room. Of course, I have a black dog. So she's a good sized black dog.
Yeah.
She's quiet. She's like laying right here at my feet.
What's the name?
Her name's Tara.
Tara?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, very cool. So, I think we're kind of winding down here to the end of the latest episode of the Buckland Museum Frankenstein Radio Controls. Thanks so much. It's such a pleasure and honor to be able to host your beautiful staff here at the museum and also host you here. Like I said, you're invited to come hang out with us at any time. And I think I know Tony would love that. She's always just like, I think you guys are best friends now, which I think is really sweet. So
yeah, I'm really excited. And I wanted to mention too, I'm going to be doing a class with Witch Lab with Tiffany Boswell.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I met her on. So we're doing that in November. So I definitely can't wait to get back to Cleveland and the Columbus area and hang out with all you guys. I'm very excited about doing that class with her, and that class is going to be called Light the Candle.
That's not the complete name that I heard, but we're going to go with that.
Yeah, that's the intro. Yeah. Importance of having a daily practice. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. It's about a daily practice because I was nervous that it was about sticking it to somebody.
Oh!
You know what? This point, light the candle.
Light the candle. Light the candle so you keep your practice going, your good juju going, that you need to do the work. I'm all about doing the work.
Yeah, I agree. It's you know, I find a lot of times with my own like practices that I get going for a long time and then something will abruptly stop. It's like
Yeah.
going to the gym, you know, I'll work out like a maniac for a year and just one day I'll just be like, I don't feel like doing that. And it'll be like 8 months later and I'm just completely just like, you know, so it's like your spirituality is like a muscle that you have to exercise.
Yeah, it is. And I don't, you know, I say that I'm a simple practitioner, a simple witch, but I'm not simple-minded. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't like every full moon, you know, do this great big ritual, but I do always try to light a candle, blow a kiss. Times are hard. People are busy and your energy isn't there, but I can always seem to just light that little candle and that just keeps it going. You know, just make that little effort. And I find you get rewarded when you do things like that.
So I gotta agree with this statement here. Tony is asking, any chances for a class with us?
Yes. Yes.
So I want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
I think Tony is volunteering for something here.
I'm in.
Sounds awesome. All right. Well, hey, if you want to stick around for a minute here, I'm going to say goodbye to our viewers, but I want to give you a special goodbye, you know, in private, you know.
Oh, thank you, Stephen.
Like it's sincere, and I thank you so much. So
thank you. Take everybody on the video chat. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
So thank you all for tuning in and watching us here at the Buckland Museum, at least the virtual version. Like, you know, I keep saying over and over, visit our website, bucklandmuseum.org, to order tickets to come visit us. Things are selling out. I noticed that Halloween Day, Saturday, which is always a huge day for us anyway, is really starting to like book up. So if you want to spend Halloween in a witchcraft museum, now is the time to get your tickets. Anyway, tune in next week for our conversation with Kristen about her book Witch Hunt, which I've gotten about halfway through, and it's good. It's an intense read, and yeah, thanks so much. I'm looking at everyone out there watching this right now. Just sincerely out of the bottom of my heart, I just ask you to do me a favor and stay witchy, my friends. All right.